Okay, looks like we're live. So, good morning, everybody. And as always, welcome to the channel and thanks for coming and hanging out. My name is Rich Charpentier. I'm the channel host. And most of the time, we're talking drones, building your drone business, and sometimes some other tech too, like playing with 360 images, 360 tours, and doing some general photography as well. So, today we're going to be talking about bidding on some unique drone jobs. And my biggest piece of advice for you is don't spit out a number immediately. Questions are gonna come up. So I see there's already a couple folks on channel, so thanks everyone for coming in already this morning. And it's 8 a.m. here in not so sunny Arizona today, so we'll see what it looks like a little later today. So several weeks ago, I had actually brought up a potential job contract with a construction company in the area, and the construction company is actually doing some new road work. And let's see. Good morning, Davenport. Glad to have you here. For folks who are new to the channel, if you see me looking over to this side, it's a second monitor, so I just check over on the live chat occasionally. And if anyone could, let me know how the audio is this morning. I accidentally messed some things up earlier, but I think I got it where I had it before. So anyways, a couple weeks ago, I had mentioned this potential contract. I'd submitted a bid, and my bid was accepted, which was fantastic. It's a 14-month-long contract with a possibility of extending. So a 2.5-mile roadway that could have another 6 miles added on. So this could be really good. Let's see. For real, yeah, you too, huh, Corey? This has been just an interesting experience with the contacts I'm getting, and all the contacts are coming through the website. Good, thanks, Corey. Let's see here. All right, Michael, audio is good, and hearing loud and clear. Awesome, thanks everybody. So that contract that my bid was accepted. So the construction company will be using us, not anytime soon. So, and not for any fault of ours, but some other issues with what they need to get done, which is why on today's little screen cap here, we've got local, county, state, and federal rules. Do you know where you're flying? And whenever I get contacted by folks, they always, what's the price? What's the number? What's the flight? And, just like folks on channel here, sometimes, Rich, how do you do your pricing? And we've talked about pricing a couple times, but every job's unique. You've got to treat every job as unique, and you've got to do some research too. And this particular first contract, like I said, 14 months would be awesome, and it could potentially be business changing for us. And then the contact that I got last week was just incredible as well, but we're going to go one at a time here. So the first one, there was some negligence when it comes to local and state. So we've got local, county, state, and federal rules. So the construction company that had contacted me and said yes to our proposal, apparently they fell short on some of their own due diligence. So let's see. Mission Impossible, absolutely, Michael. And when you hear and see this one, you'll get it. So that first construction company, we had some back and forth. I sent out some information to them. I sent some additional inquiries to them as well. Which they promptly got back to me on. So I was really thrilled. Now everyone's going, oh God, here we are on SkyVector again. Yes, you need to have SkyVector. You need to have a couple of tools, not just one tool, to really take a look at where you're planning on flying. So when I get on job locations, when I go to walk locations beforehand, I've got Kitty Hawk with me. I've got AirMap with me. I've got access to SkyVector, because this helps me fashion the additional questions I have for the clients. And in the case of this one, this is a road construction project. It's a connector project, and it's supposed to be going on in the Camp Verde area. So while I asked a lot of great questions in the beginning, one of the things that I neglected to ask was regarding some areas where can I fly, can I not fly? So in the meantime, the construction company is on hold. They're waiting for some hearings. They're waiting for some public review. I guess there wasn't enough public review, and in a couple of the local news outlets, it was pointed out that maybe other people didn't get the opportunity to bid, or it was too short of a time, whatever it is. There are some rules out there for bidding big jobs like this, not on my side of it, but the actual construction companies who are doing the job. So I did have a follow-up with them after, because I didn't get an initial address. I got an area from them, and mostly it's an area that I can fly. So that's awesome. Let me take a look on over. Kitty Hawk is a must-have, absolutely, Davenport. You've got to have a Kitty Hawk with you. There's a lot of different tools now for Lance, but there are moments when Lance isn't going to do it for you. So I just wanted to, and this is as far in as I can zoom Sky Vector right now, so I do apologize. But so the corridor they're talking about connects from Camp Verde, smaller town. Well, you know, it's a sizable population area. But between Camp Verde and the Cottonwood area, they're looking to do a new connector. So this has been in our local newspaper regarding this construction. So I guess there's some more public hearings, and then things might proceed again. But I missed something on my initial overview in talking to them and talking pricing. And we got to pricing over a series of conversations, by the way. That's not always true. Well, and Corey, so right here, this is where Kitty Hawk or Air Map or one of those kind of fails me, and I'm going to show you that. So I've got this up here because we've got these little blue dots with a line. So these little blue dots with a line indicate wilderness areas. So wilderness areas, some of them are seasonal, some of them are not. But where this construction is going to be going is actually through a section of the Verde River bald eagle breeding area, which is a really long corridor. So, you know, if we're following my mouse here, goes up to Perkinsville, great place to go off-roading, by the way. And there's some really cool climbing in here too. And I have done a couple flights out there, not in the wilderness areas. But so we've got this wilderness area from Paulden, and it's this corridor, goes down through Clarkdale and Cottonwood, goes up to Cornville and down to Camp Verde. So the road path, the highway that's there right now from Camp Verde over to Cottonwood, you know, that drives right through it. So you're right along this corridor. So I had to do a follow-up question with the construction company saying, all right, I am going to need some additional contacts because I'm not supposed to be flying in a wilderness area, but there are ways that you can get permission. And if they're going to have a right-of-way area in here for where they're doing the construction, you know, there's a way for us to work it out. Let's take a look over here. So I see all of this. I see all of these wilderness areas. And I know, you know, there's more to going in here. I'm not just going to go out there flying. So I avoid them like the plague. We even have a couple in the Prescott area. Lynx Lake has a bald eagle breeding area, and Granite Mountain Wilderness, we've got peregrine falcon nesting over there. If you've never seen a peregrine falcon, they're awesome, and I've actually seen them hunting out in front of our house. So really cool to see. But so let me just go over here now, and I'm going to grab Air Map. So I just grabbed Air Map. I use Kitty Hawk usually, but Air Map does, you know, mark out. They have their little numbers in here for, there we go, 400 AGL. So they're showing the grid, you know, from the FAA. But normally when I'm submitting for something, it is Kitty Hawk actually that I'm using. And there's the Ernest Love Airfield right there. But let's zoom this out. So this is Air Map, and Kitty Hawk shows a similar thing. So over to Jerome, we have Woodchute Mountain, which is also another wilderness area. So if you look here, right in here on Sky Vector, Jerome, there's that wilderness area. But let's take a look at Air Map again. Where's the wilderness area for the Verde River bald eagle breeding area? It's not showing up here. Uh-oh. So if I were just to go according to Air Map, or if I were to go according to Kitty Hawk, I am going to miss seeing that there is, in fact, a wilderness area here. It is a federal wilderness area. And let's just go over to a Google search I did for you. Let me check over here. Okay, so I just did, are drones allowed in wilderness areas? And I've had a couple people on channel who've said to me, hey, I've flown over at Lynx Lake before. And I was like, ooh, I haven't. And they're like, oh, well, I talked to a campground host and they told me it was okay. Campground hosts are usually volunteers. They're not direct employees of the Forest Service. And so they might not have, I want to be able to fly as much as I can and where I can, but I also want to make sure that I'm working within the bounds of the rules, especially if I'm doing larger scale projects for larger companies involved in transportation that affects local and state government. We want to make sure we're doing the right things. But UAS are considered to be both motorized equipment and mechanical transport. As such, they cannot take off from, land in, or be operated from congressionally designated wilderness areas. UAS are not permitted to fly in areas that have temporary flight restrictions as well. But as you start reading through all of this, it does become very clear, this is not a place that I should just be jumping over and starting to fly in that particular canyon. So this is where the follow-up discussion with the potential clients and, or current clients, people who've said yes, but they're waiting on their approval. We're going to need to go through some more conversation and probably get somebody involved for how we could do the wilderness areas, since there's going to be road building and bridge building across that Verde River area. There's definitely more to it. So we need a little more follow-up, and we're going to play it as safe as possible. Let me go over to the next one. So this is Fish and Wildlife for Arizona. And so right here, so we've got this whole big thing. So this is az.gov, seasonal closures for eagle breeding areas. So they go through all the info, but airspace advisory, they have established 2,000 foot above ground level advisory along the Salt River. So that's Salt and Verde River drainages. So when traveling those, they do have information about what can and can't occur. They do have dates for some of the areas, but because this can affect my client and the work that we want to do, we're going to be having further follow-up conversations about this part of it to see how we can secure permissions, if we can secure permissions, and how we go forward. This particular construction company has dealt with drone pilots before, so they have a very good idea of what they want to do, and they want to film the corridor where they're creating this new roadway several times a month. So from my perspective, very lucrative contract, and I definitely want to be able to do it, but it's very clear that some additional questions and answers need to be taken care of. So I've already talked to them about some of this, but now I'm sharing it with you guys, and I'm sharing it with you guys because of the other job that came in previously. So number one, we've all been hearing recently about DJI's woes with the federal government and being on that entity list now, and the fact that some of federal agencies are not allowed to use DJI products, or maybe all of them at this point. DOJ has been involved, DOD has been involved, and let's go over to one of those articles from The Verge. This goes back to August 20th, but some new stuff has come out on the entity list, and we don't need to go through all that. There's a lot of other channels doing drone news, and you can check them out on DJI being added to the entity list. But the federal government overall doesn't really want to deal with DJI. They're concerned about security issues. So the U.S. government grounded DJI. I love some of these headlines, right? They're not grounded, but when it comes to federal work, U.S. government work, DJI is not welcome. So the second so let's scroll down, by the way. So they do have 5 approved drones: Skydio, Parrot, Altavian, I guess, Teal Drones, Vantage Robotics. So big questions for me. To be doing federal work, am I going to need to use one of these? And if I'm going to use one of these, one of the biggest reasons I use DJI is because, excuse my hiccups here. One of the biggest reasons I use DJI is because of all the third-party tools available to me for doing 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional modeling, for doing my time lapses, for doing construction progression work. And, If there are not tools available for these other drones, well, great, that doesn't help me at all. So if I need to bring some new equipment into the drone stable, if I'm picking one of these, I have a lot of questions. And I also sent some of these questions back to the gentleman who contacted me, because start of last week, I got an email. Actually, it was over the weekend. I got an email from a person who needed to know more information about types of flights and progression flights, and also some just standard aerial imaging, and then some two-dimensional ortho modeling. And the agency that got in touch with me was the BIA. So very strange to wake up and check your email inbox, and from azdrone.net, I have an inquiry from the BIA, so the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And this particular gentleman works with them, and they're going to be upgrading some of their tools in 2021. And so they're going to be bringing on some more GIS information, and they're tracking parcels of land. They've got a couple other ideas. And here we are again, as I've said before, educating the customer is important, because the gentleman I was talking to, this is fairly new to them. Drone usage, and also getting ArcGIS for some representations of properties. So they've got some projects in mind for 2021. And so they were curious, what's your price per flight? What can you do? So the gentleman, he said to me, he said, this is very new to us and how we want to track and manage some of these properties. And we'd like to get drones involved because we're going to be making these new maps and things with ArcGIS. And so he was hoping for some pricing and things, but instead he got a lot of questions from me. And that was okay. So we did our Zoom meeting. I recorded our Zoom meeting so that I could go back and refer to it for my follow-up questions to him. And it was right after our meeting that DJI got put on the entity list. So I followed up with him later in the week with a couple of questions about permissions and airspace. So everything looks good for the airspace, but where I'll be flying is above reservation land, and reservations have come down on drone operations, and some, and also asked for permissions to be gotten. So it's a whole different world, because now we're talking about a federal entity that's monitoring land that's part of a reservation. So where does Rich and AZ Drone fit in with the different sets of rules? So I also asked a few questions regarding flights over reservation properties, launching and landing, and overall, who should we contact? And so I'm sure he has all the contacts because he's a person who works for the BIA. Let me just take a look down, make sure I'm not missing any other comments. So, okay, I haven't missed anybody else. But so, this led me to additional questions. And once again, I'm just going to go over to AirMap because I've got AirMap up. And let's take a look. Second AZ, there we go. So part of the area, so some of the stuff that they're looking to have flown is in this area. And as you can see, let's zoom this out. So this is south of the Phoenix area. And there's a lot of airspace stuff going on in the Phoenix area. We've got the Phoenix International Airport, and right to the south of us, there's Picacho Peak. I love that place. We've got things going down in Oro Valley, and we've got stuff going on in Tucson because they do have their airport as well. So in this area, first glance, I'm like, hey, looking like Class G to me, right? But now we have additional questions because this is reservation land. And I have read articles, from areas out of Canyon de Chelly, other places I like to go photographing when we were traveling with the Airstream more. And, there's some, it's not rules or anything, I'm not going to call it that, but there's some caution that needs to be taken when flying reservation land, and making sure that you also have checked with reservation government, because there have been some seizures of drones and some citations given out. So you have to remember, when you go on to reservation land, that's somebody else's nation, right? Okay. So follow-up questions for these folks as well at the BIA. So it was very interesting. It was an interesting conversation, and sounds like they're wanting to do some more modernization for some of the reporting that they need to do. So once again, this could be a very interesting project, and it is not a short-term project. In talking to him, this sounds like this is going to be a much longer-term project. So I let him know I'm not firing off any prices yet until we get the remainder of the questions answered. And then when we have those questions answered, I can give realistic pricing. So if I have to do some additional things, if I have to submit some additional paperwork, if I need to do a presentation for somebody, and that was one of the other things that they were requesting, is that we do a presentation on some of the time-lapse work that we do, some of the construction progression that we do, and also some standard 2D modeling, because they have some very, very basic questions that they want to answer about some of the properties. One of the interesting questions is this particular acreage actually being used to grow this particular agriculture, or has it been left, untended? So some of the questions that he was telling me that they would like to answer were very interesting, very unique, and could be a step into a broader offering from AZ Drone. Now, the one other thing I want to do here is just head on over to azdrone.net, because as regulars here on channel know, we've been talking more about your outreach, and on Teachable, I have az-drone.teachable.com. I'm developing a new class on, so you've passed your Part 107 test, what's your next step? And one of the big steps is actually getting your name out there and getting recognized for your work. And so in the case of both the road crew construction company, and the BIA, I was contacted because of my website and because of some of the samples that I'm showing. So the construction folks who are doing that road work came across me in their search in Arizona for time-lapse construction and progression as well. So in speaking with the engineer, I had asked her, I said, so, what made you decide to give us a call? And, why do you feel like we could fit into this project? And so she cited going over to our main drone services and the construction services and some of our samples from the time-lapsing. So orthomosaics were also appealing for doing that particular corridor as well. So you can see the before and after right away. Questions get answered incredibly quickly just by going back and forth on that. You can go, hey, how much progress have these folks made on this job site, on this road site? Hey, it's moved out another 500 yards over a couple weeks. Okay, good. Whatever the distances are. So that particular engineer, she let me know that when they were looking between mine and other regional providers, that it looked like a great fit for them on what they're wanting to do with this project. Same thing with the gentleman from the BIA. I asked him on our Zoom call, I said, so why us? How'd you find us? You're a little south of us. We're up in Prescott. And he said, because I was actually answering some of his questions, and he's very new to the concept of using drones for their management of acreage. So we've got one construction firm who, we've used drone pilots. We understand what you guys can do for us. And then to the opposite end of the spectrum of, this is new to us, and we're not even sure all the services you can offer. So in our conversation, he additionally asked, can you just give a really quick service list and maybe either schedule a Zoom presentation with us or do a pre-recorded presentation that you can send along to us, showing features of each of the things that we offer. So for those of you who are building your small drone businesses, and you're struggling with your websites, or you're just getting into your websites, I was answering a couple website questions last night for one of my patrons over on Patreon, and very straightforward questions to me. But if you're not building websites on a regular basis, this stuff can get time consuming. But in the end, the keywording that I chose and the particular examples that I chose made the decision for both these entities to get in touch with me. So the website's working. And as I've said before, I'm not getting thousands of views per month on this site, and I don't expect it. There aren't thousands of construction companies in Arizona all looking for a drone pilot at the same time. These are usually larger projects, you know, so more time on site for you. And where am I going with this? Oh yeah, so see, I even lose train of thought sometimes. But you know, there's not thousands of construction companies looking for us. Potentially hundreds of construction companies looking for us. That I could find believable. And AZ Drone does get several hundred unique hits per month. Actually, it gets more than that. But when I take a look through my data, you know, I'm looking at, you know, who's really looking here, who's just poking around. But so in each of these examples, the website was a big selling point. I had another customer say to me last year when he was looking locally, because he was doing something here in Prescott, and he said, you were the only one that actually provided concrete examples of the types of flights you can do. So I was the only call he made, and he signed up with me right away and didn't even shop around because he already saw exactly what I was doing and knew that it could translate to his property as well. All right, just taking a look over on the right-hand bar again to check out the comments there. So, hey, thanks for everyone who's sticking with us so far this morning. And sorry I always do these earlier, but you don't want to see me at the end of the day. If you think I'm senile sometimes now, you should see me then. So let's go back to the front end of AZ Drone. So for those of you who are building out your online presence, I've said it before, I'll say it again, this is not a giant rush. I know you want to start getting more people in, but if you're just starting to build, it's going to take a little while for Google to fully index you. It's also going to take you a little while to rough out your message. I would suggest, though, keeping it simple. For my newest class, which is still not available, but will be available for January 1st, you know, I talk about keeping it simpler. I actually talk about a book from, what's the name of it? Now I can't even think of the name of the book today. I am definitely having a senile morning. So one of the books is by Krugman. It's this is not rocket surgery. Let's see here. Not rocket surgery. All right, I'm still waking up. I'll blame it on that. And let me see here. You ever have one of those moments when you just forget a word? There we go. Steve Krug, Rocket Surgery Made Easy. And he's actually done another book, which is the one I'm more interested in. So let's see here. Steve Krug. And he is all about usability, by the way. So let's see. About Steve Krug. Don't Make Me Think. There we go. God, boy, I'm having a great morning. So the book that I discovered this gentleman through is called Don't Make Me Think. And he's all about usable interfaces. So being able to follow through a website and be guided by that website. And so when we talk about building your website, you need to keep in mind that it's going to take some time. It's not going to be something rushed overnight. And you need to keep it simple. You need to guide the people who are visiting your website to find out about the things you want them to find out about to make purchasing decisions. So when you look at the front of my web page, we've got just the notice that I've passed the 107, but we have construction services, aerial imaging, and beyond real estate photography. And each of those leads into my subpages for people to follow along if they want more information. So I don't heavily pepper the front page with a lot. I hit it with the specific things that I really want people finding me for. And then I give them some additional information. Now, that doesn't mean that we rule out other types of drone operations. It means these are the ones that I really enjoy doing. Let's face it, I have a lot of fun with the construction sites and the time lapses and things. It's enjoyable. So not only is it the job, but I'm actually having a good time out there. So this is something I definitely want to sell. So we get the people in there, and then we have them get a couple more pieces of information. And then for those of you who are coming to the website because you've seen my channel here and you've seen some of the videos, you know, you might want to learn more about the drone classes I have. And then we have some real estate information for doing interiors and also the drone work, our about us and our contact us. And the news hasn't been updated a little bit, so I'll be updating that again. But so for those of you who've been following along and thinking about your websites, can a website built by me, built by you, actually attract the type of clientele that you're looking for? And the answer is yes. So getting this most recent contact and the last construction contact, and I actually turned another one down because of where it is. It's a little too outside of our footprint right now until things calm down with the healthcare crisis. We're just not driving that far to do a shorter contract. It's not worth it. So we do pick and choose as well. But for those of you who've been following along with the website building and the thinking about your website for your business, this is not a giant website. I don't have a million pages here. Actually, I'm going to move this off just for a sec. So I'm just taking this out so that you don't see me put my password in. So sorry about that. So I'm just logging into AZ Drone for a moment. And then we're going to come back. So you don't have to have a million pages worth of information. You just need to have good content that's readable and understandable to the audience that you're pitching your work to. So, all right, now we're all logged in. So let's drag that back over. There we go. And I'm just going to go down to pages. And I also have some hidden pages here that I was starting things and I decided not to use them. But in total, I've got 57 pages in this website. But I would say, that only half of them are actually out and available for folks, or I've redone my links to newer pages. And yeah, so there you go. A lot of these pages are actually private pages. So AZ Construction Progression, there we go. My whole Clark Wayland series, the Copper Basin one, also some other clients. So a lot of these things none of you are ever going to see because they're some of my private password protected pages for certain clients, and some of them are not password protected as well. So one of the ones that I really like, we're just going to go ahead and hit view here, and let's see if I password protected that. Okay, I didn't because I was using it as an example. But on this one, so this is part of my progression series for CW builders, but I actually laid out for them the whole series of each of the flights we did for them over the course of the project. So there's flight number 1, and let's see. Yeah, see, I actually need to go in and update the last couple of flights, but they weren't using this particular page. This was more of a me showing it to people. But so, yeah, I've got 57 pages, but I'd say more than half of them are actually private client pages, so other people aren't stumbling across those. But if you're building your website or you've ever wanted to design a user interface, by the way, once again, I don't make money off Amazon or anything for this. Don't make me think. Awesome book. And also his rocket surgery book was a good book as well. All right, everybody. So now I'm just going to go back over to SkyVector. I'm going to take a look back over to make sure I haven't missed any questions or comments. And thanks everyone again for hanging in. So I hope you get the idea that one of the big things you need to do when you first start talking with a potential client is ask a lot of questions. You need to discover all of the things that they're looking for you to do. In the case of the BIA, they want to see all of the types of flights that we're able to do for them because it might benefit them further in the reporting that they need to do down the road. So while they started out with a smaller question, we got to the bigger question really quick when we had our call. That was, what else can you do with these? And so I started explaining to him a couple other projects, and the eyes got wide. And yeah, if you can list some of that for us as well. And so finally, once again, on the wrap up of this, as we saw when I was looking at AirMap, or if I pulled up a Kitty Hawk or another land system, not everybody's showing me this wilderness corridor. So I'm going to need to double check and do my due diligence on what I can and can't do, because I most certainly do not want to be violating any federal rules or violating, any of the rules also from az.gov. But remember, those wilderness areas are federal wilderness areas as well. So federal, there's the big word for you right there, making sure that we have our permissions. We know that we've got to deal with the FAA for our flights, but then when we have special cases like this, a little more research is going to have to go into it. So keep that in mind when you get those phone calls or email inquiries. Always ask folks to elaborate more and be willing to elaborate on what you can do for them as well. Okay, everybody, so this one's only a half hour. I didn't do horrible today. And let's see, have you been doing any 360 work recently? Michael, yeah, we've so all right, we're going to look at another house today. And yes, I had said before, so for folks who are new to this channel, I talk about other things too. So we're on a quest to find a new rental house. It's been really a super painful request. And we have been in a couple of houses recently, Michael, and a couple of them just not putting up because the places were such trashed pits. And we also came across a couple other things. So I have been doing some 360 interiors with homes. We're actually going to look at another home today. Looked at a couple homes last week. I did some 360 work in one of those homes as well for fun and for my own reference. And also, I haven't done 360s in all of these like I was going to share with you because this has been painful. I just wanted to show you this. This is a screenshot that just hacked me off the other day. So for everybody else, we're going away from drone stuff for a minute. So if you want to hear me complain about real estate, here we go. If you don't, I understand if you want to hop off channel for now. This house is not $1,300 like it says right there. This is not a $1,300 house. This is a scammer who has taken a home listing. And the actual home listing is for, I think it was $2,400 a month for this particular house. And so this scammer, his name is John Smith, and John Smith has been operating on a couple of home listing services. So he copies, he or she, we don't know who they are, they're a scammer. They copy a listing and they put it on some other listing services. I don't know how they got approved on those listing services. But so this particular house is also listed over on Zillow and a couple other places for the real price. Because we saw this and said, yeah, let's call on that. These people are trying to collect your data. They're trying to get your phone number. They're trying to get your email address. And in some cases, they want to send you a PDF file so that you can sign a contract with them and send them a deposit. And they don't want to show you the house yet until you start signing one of their documents. This one right below it, $1,100 a month. No, it's not. It's $1,500 a month. And we did actually go and see that one with a realtor, with the real realtor. And we advised them that this was up as well. And so that is another fake listing. So some of these have gotten taken down now. So the 360 work, I've actually been bringing the Theta Z1 with us when we go into these places. One of the places we went into last week was so disgusting. The pantry, I don't know what was spilled in there. And so I'm not super nitpicky, but when you come in and just start seeing gross things throughout a house that someone's listing for $1,500 a month, $1,800 a month, $2,000 a month, no. And this is a really tough market here. Prescott is growing so rapidly. So many people are building new homes. People are moving here for their retirements. And so prices are getting driven up because we've got this demand spike that you don't see in other locations in Arizona or other states for that matter. But so yes, I've been getting a couple 360s. I was actually, Michael, going to talk this week about the fact that using Affinity Photo. So I've been playing with Affinity Photo because some of my patrons were asking for it. A couple people on channel here were asking for it. You know, what else beyond Photoshop is there? So I've been playing around with Affinity Photo. And one of the things I found in Affinity is I really like editing 360s in it because you can do a live 360 view with it. So when they had their Black Friday sale, I splurged $39 and I bought it. I'm still a Lightroom and Photoshop user, but with all the requests I've been having about Affinity, I figured why not get it. And so my first thought when I was looking back at some of the images from some of the houses last week was, let's use Affinity Photo to do the final edits on these. So I'm actually going to be making a standalone video on that, or maybe we'll do it as a live stream. Let me know what your preferences in comments below. If you like the live streams better, or if you want me a little more organized and doing a video where I edit a bunch of things beforehand. So yeah, by the way, for everybody, the house hunt is still mind-numbingly frustrating. We are going to see one today, and then we're going to be getting a call about something really interesting tomorrow. So cross your fingers for us because we're running out of time, and it's not for lack of trying. Since our landlords are going to be selling this property and their other property in town and moving south, totally understand the need. It's a family and medical issue, so I get it. But the timing couldn't be worse. I was like, do you really want to be moving everything right now? And also, we've got the holidays right here. So while I'm frustrated and worried about finding a place, this is supposed to be the happy season and the season for hanging out with family and friends, right? which I seem to be doing through Zoom more than anything else lately. But 2020 has been a challenging year, but we'll take all good thoughts that we find a good place in the near future. We've got till the end of January. If we don't find anything great, we might be back in the Airstream for a little bit. So there we go. Live stream for Affinity. All right, Michael. Well, then I will ponder one this week. By the way, everybody, I might not do next Monday's live stream. It is the holiday season. It's Christmas. It's New Year's. And I'd like to take a little bit of a break and step back to think about what we're doing for 2021. So a couple more videos will be out here. The launch of the new Teachable class will be out for January 1st. Thanks to all the patrons who are beta testing and checking that out. And I'm still looking forward to more of your comments. But all right, everybody, if we don't pop up next Monday, I might just do a random live stream again like I've been doing lately. So I did one over the weekend, and that was talking about website building specifically. So if you're interested, you can go check that one out afterward. But so if we're on Monday, I'll post some kind of notification on Sunday probably. And Michael, you enjoy your holidays too, and everybody else, Davenport and Corey, and who else am I missing? Who else did I miss? Do I have everybody? Okay, I think I've got everyone. If I missed you, I'm sorry. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and also recommend the channel to your friends who are also in the drone community. We'd like to grow this channel a little further, and we'd like to, make the community a little larger. I'd like to start doing some Zooms with everybody where we can chat about different topics. I am totally up for that, and I'm just trying to figure out how to set up some of the OBS stuff. So if you're interested in that as well, let me know down below in the comments. All right, everybody, I got to get ready for my next one. I've got a Zoom call with a client that we're wrapping up a project on, which I'm so thrilled to be done with. It's been a long one that's gone on a lot longer than anticipated because the clients changed their minds and decided to go in a different direction. But we'll talk about that at some point too. As always, fly safe, have fun. I hope you're doing well with building your small drone businesses as well. And we'll see you around the channel in the really near future. Have a great one, everybody, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.